Good morning, students. Good morning, students. We are studying about fluid mechanics, and in that chapter, we studied about types of flow, continuity equation, derivation, and applications of momentum equation, Euler's equation. Today, we are going to discuss about Bernoulli's equation. In that, we are going to discuss about derivation of Bernoulli's equation and applications, and we also solve some problems in related to the Bernoulli's equation. Okay, so let's start with the Bernoulli's equation. The Bernoulli's equation is an appropriate relation between pressure, velocity, and elevation, and is valid in regions of steady incompressible flow where net frictional forces are negligible. Despite its simplicity, it has proven to be a very powerful tool in fluid mechanics. In figure, you can see a body and the flow over the body and below the body. Bernoulli's equation valid and Bernoulli's equation not valid. There is a condition where the Bernoulli's equation is not valid below the object and Bernoulli's equation is valid above the object. Derivation of the Bernoulli's equation. Assumptions. Inviscid flow, that is ideal fluid, frictionless, steady flow along a streamline, constant density, incompressible flow, no shaft work or heat transfer. These are the assumptions which we have to make while deriving the Bernoulli's equation. Care must be exercised when applying the Bernoulli equation, since it is an approximation that applies only to inviscid regions of flow. The Bernoulli approximation is typically useful in flow regions outside of boundary layers and wakes where the fluid motion is governed by the combined effects of pressure and gravity forces. These are the assumptions while deriving the Bernoulli's equation. Also, a streamline, a line which follows the direction of the fluid velocity, is chosen with the coordinates as shown in figure below. In figure, we can see steady flow along a streamline and the direction of the fluid velocity, that is streamline, chosen with the coordinates as shown in figure. Okay. Around this line, a cylindrical element of fluid having the cross-sectional area dA and length ds is considered. Let P be the pressure acting on the lower face and pressure P plus dP acts on the upper face, a distance ds away. A gravitational force acting on this element is its weight, that is rho g dA ds. Okay. So, applying Newton's second law in the s direction on a particle moving along a streamline gives summation of Fs is equal to mas. Okay. The velocity may change with both position and time. In one-dimensional flow, it therefore becomes a function of distance and time, that is v is equal to v in bracket s t. The change in velocity dv over time dt may be written as dv is equal to dv by ds into ds plus dv by dt into dt, and dv by dt is equal to dv by ds into ds by dt plus dv by dt. In steady flow, dv by dt is equal to 0 and thus v is equal to v into s, and the acceleration in the s direction becomes as is equal to dv by dt, that is equal to dv by ds into ds by dt equal to dv by ds into v is equal to v into dv by ds. Summing forces in the direction of motion, the s direction results rho dA minus in bracket P plus dP in bracket complete into dA minus rho g ds dA sin theta equal to rho ds dA as, where as is equal to v into dv by ds and sin theta is equal to d is equal to 1 ds. dz by ds. Sin theta is equal to dz by ds. On substituting and dividing the equation by rho g dA, we can obtain Euler's equation. dP by rho g plus dz plus v upon g into dv is equal to 0. Note that Euler's equation is valid also for compressible flow. Now, if we further assume that the flow is incompressible so that the density is constant, we may integrate Euler's equation to get P divided by rho g plus z plus v square upon 2g equal to constant. Then the terms of in the equation represent energy per unit weight and they have the units of length m, so they are commonly termed heads. V square upon 2g is equal to velocity head, rho upon P upon rho g equal to pressure head, and z is potential head. A head corresponds to energy per unit weight of flow and has dimensions of length. Piezometric head is equal to pressure head plus elevation head, which is the level registered by a piezometer connected to that point in a pipeline. So total head is equal to piezometric head plus velocity head. If we follows that for ideal steady flow, the total energy head is constant along a streamline, but the constant may differ in different streamlines. Applying the Bernoulli's equation to any 2 points on the same streamline, we have rho P1 upon rho g plus Z1 plus V1 square upon 2g equal to P2 upon rho g plus Z2 plus V2 square upon twice g. Various problems on the one-dimensional flow of an ideal fluid can be solved by jointly using Bernoulli's theorem and the continuity equation. Venturi, nozzle and orifice meter. The Venturi, nozzle and orifice meter are three similar types of devices for measuring discharge in a pipe. That means we are using for measuring discharges Venturi, nozzle and orifice meter. The Venturi meter consists of a rapidly converging section which increases the velocity of flow and hence reduces the pressure. It then returns to the original dimensions of the pipe by a gently diverging diffuser section. By measuring the pressure differences, the discharge can be calculated. We can see the orifice, the nozzle and the Venturi meter in the graph, and we assume the flow is horizontal, Z1 is equal to Z2 and the cross sections 1:1, 2:2, steady, inviscid and incompressible between point 1 and 2. The Bernoulli's equation becomes P1 plus 1/2 rho V1 square equal to P2 plus 1/2 rho V2 square. Okay. Then application of Bernoulli's equation. If we assume the velocity profiles are uniform at sections 1 and 2, the continuity equation can be written as Q is equal to A1 V1 equal to A2 V2, where A2 is the small flow area at section 2. Combination of these two equations results in the following theoretical flow rate. Q is equal to A2 under square root 2 in bracket P1 minus P2 bracket complete divided by rho in bracket 1 minus bracket A2 by A1 square bracket complete. Thus, for a given flow geometry A1 and A2, and the flow rate can be determined if the pressure difference P1 minus P2 is measured. Let's take one example. Application of Bernoulli's equation. Air flows through a pipe at a rate of 200 liters per second. The pipe consists of two sections. of diameter 20 centimeter and 10 centimeter with a smooth reducing section that connects them. The pressure difference between the two pipe sections is measured by the water manometer. Neglecting frictional effects, determine the differential height of water between the two pipe sections. Take the air density to be 1.20 kg per meter cube. Okay, so let's take a section air having airflow rate 200 liter per second and the thickness 20 centimeter and 10 centimeter for other end, and h is the height. Okay, so solving this problem, assumptions: the flow through the pipe is steady, incompressible and with negligible friction, so that the Bernoulli's equation is applicable. The losses in the reducing section are negligible. The pressure difference across an air column is negligible because of the low density of air, and thus the air column in the manometer can be ignored. So let's start with the analysis. We take point 1 and 2 along the center line of the pipe over the two tubes of the manometer, noting that Z1 is equal to Z2, or the elevation effects are negligible for gases. The Bernoulli's equation between point 1 and 2 gives P1 upon rho g plus V1 square upon 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 upon rho g plus V2 square upon 2g plus Z2. Okay. So P1 minus P2 is equal to rho air V2 square minus V1 square divided by 2. This is the equation 1. We let the differential height of the water manometer be h. Then the pressure difference P2 minus P1 can be expressed as P1 minus P2 is equal to rho W GH. This is called as equation 2. By combining equation 1 and 2 and solving for h, we can get rho air in bracket V2 square minus V1 square divided by 2 equal to rho WGH. By solving this, h is equal to rho air V2 square minus V1 square upon twice g rho W is equal to V2 square minus V1 square divided by twice g rho W divided by rho air. So by putting the values in that formula for calculating the velocities and substituting, V1 is equal to V upon A1 equal to V1 upon pi d1 square divided by 4 equal to 0.2 meter cube per second divided by pi 0.2 meter square divided by 4. We can get V1 is equal to 6.37 meter per second. Similarly for V2, V divided by A2 equal to V divided by area of 2 section 2, that is pi d2 square divided by 4 equal to V is equal to 0.2 meter cube per second divided by pi into 0.1 meter bracket square divided by 4 equal to V2 is equal to 25.5 meter per second. So h is equal to 25.5 meter per second square minus 6.37 meter per second square divided by 2 into 9.81 meter per second square into 1000 divided by 1.20. By calculating and by putting the values and calculating, h is equal to, we get 0.037 meter, that is 3.7 centimeter. Therefore the differential height of the water column will be 3.7 meter. Okay, so let's take one exercise. You have to solve in the home. There is a pipe having the dimensions as shown in the figure. Water assumed inviscid and incompressible flows steadily in the vertical variable area pipe shown in the figure. Determine the flow rate if the pressure in each of the gases reads 50 kilopascal. So you have to solve this question in the home, and answer is Q is equal to 11.4 meter cube per second. So solve this in the home. Then pitot tube, application of Bernoulli's equation, that is the pitot tube. The pitot tube is a device used for measuring the velocity of flow at any point in a pipe or a channel. What is the principle? If the velocity at any point decreases, the pressure at that point increases due to the conservation of the kinetic energy into pressure energy. In simplest form, the pitot tube consists of a glass tube bent at right angles as shown in figure. Point 2 is just at the inlet of the pitot tube. Point 1 is far away from the tube. Let P1 is equal to pressure at section 1, P2 is the pressure at section 2, V1 is the velocity at section 1, V2 is the velocity at section 2 is equal to 0. H is capital H is equal to depth of tube in the liquid, and H is the rise of liquid in the tube above the free surface. Okay. So applying Bernoulli's equation at section 1 and 2, we get P1 divided by rho g plus V1 square divided by 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 divided by rho g plus V2 square upon 2g plus Z2. But Z1 is equal to Z2 and V2 is equal to 0, and rho P1 divided by rho g equal to pressure head at 1 equal to H, and P2 upon rho g equal to pressure head at 2 equal to H small h plus capital H. Substituting these values, we get capital H plus V1 square divided by 2g equal to small h plus h. V1 is equal to square root twice gh. This is the theoretical velocity. Actual velocity is given by V1 actual equal to CV divided by in under square root twice gh, where CV is coefficient of pitot tube. Okay. Then let's take another example, velocity measurement by a pitot tube. A piezometer and a pitot tube are tapped into a horizontal water pipe as shown in the figure. To measure static and stagnation, static plus dynamic pressures for the indicated water column heights, determine the velocity at the corner of the pipe. So the values are given in the figure. We have to calculate the velocity at the center of the pipe. So let's start. We take point 1 and point 2 along the center line of the pipe, with point 1 directly under the piezometer and point 2 at the tip of the pitot tube. This is steady flow with straight and parallel streamlines, and the gauge pressure at point 1 and 2 can be expressed as P1 is equal to rho g in bracket H1 plus H1 H2, and P2 is equal to rho g in bracket H1 plus H2 plus H3. Noting that point 2 is a stagnation point, and thus V2 is equal to 0 and Z1 is equal to Z. The application of the Bernoulli's equation between point 1 and point 2 gives P1 upon rho g plus V1 square upon 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 upon rho g plus V2 square upon 2g plus Z2, where V2 square is equal to 0 and Z1 is equal to Z2. So we can get that value V1 square upon twice g equal to P2 minus P1 divided by rho g. Substituting the P1 and P2 expression gives V1 square upon 2g is equal to P2 minus P1 divided by rho g. We can get the values rho g in bracket H1 plus H2 plus H3 minus rho g H1 plus H2 divided by rho g equal to H3. Solving for V1 and substituting, V1 is equal to square root twice g H3 equal to under square root 2 into 9.81 meter per second square into 0.12 meter. We can get V1 is equal to 1.53 meter per second. So note that to determine the flow velocity, all we need is to measure the height of the excess fluid column in the pitot tube. Let's take another example. Water flows through the pipe contraction shown in figure. For the given 0.2 meter difference in the manometer level, determine the flow rate as a function of diameter of the small pipe D. So For solving this, we know the formula P1 divided by rho plus V1 square upon twice G plus Z1 is equal to P2 upon rho plus V2 square upon twice G plus Z2, where Z1 is equal to Z2 and V2 is equal to 0. Thus, P1 upon rho plus V1 square upon twice G equal to P2 upon rho. But P1 upon rho equal to x and P2 upon rho equal to 0.2 meter plus x. So that x plus V1 square upon twice G equal to 0.2 meter plus x of V1 is equal to under square root twice G into 0.2 meter equal to 2 into 9.81 meter per second square into 0.2 meter raised to half. We can get the value V1 is equal to 1.98 meter per second. Thus, Q is equal to A1 V1 equal to pi by 4.1 meter square into 1.98 meter per second equal to 0.0156 meter cube per second for any capital D. Okay. So thank you very much. In this lecture we studied about the Bernoulli's equation, their derivation and the applications for the pitot tube, and we solved some problems related to the Bernoulli's equation. Thank you very much.